It was June of 1967. The USS Liberty was attacked by Israeli jets. 34 Americans killed. One of the men, Jim Meador, he wasn't killed. Fast forward more than 40 years, a humanitarian flotilla taking fire from Israeli commandos. And on one of those boats, Jim Meador again. Jim Meador joins us now. Hello to you, Mr. Meador. Lucky. You're obviously very fortunate to have survived both attacks. What does this tell you, in your opinion, after having survived both attacks? What does this tell you, if anything at all, about maybe the way the Israeli military handles its dealings?
Well, the name is Joe in the first place.
Joe, I'm sorry. Excuse me about that.
No problem. They're very inept. Tell you the truth, from my position, they can't sink a U.S. Navy ship, a totally unarmed U.S. Navy ship, and they don't know how to attack a Turkish liner with 600 men, 600 people on board. They send troops over down ropes, one at a time. They send people up ladders one at a time against 600 people. I don't think so.
Mr. Meadors, apologies once again for calling you Jim rather than Joe. But what about in terms of just the force at which the Israeli military responds to a perceived attack?
Well, in the first place, it was an illegal attack. We were on the high seas conducting legal activities, and they admitted that they closed the area for military purposes, but we tried to find out the boundaries of that area, and they wouldn't tell us. So regardless of where we were at, we were in their territorial waters, so to speak. So they violated that law.
And was that the case?
I'm sure they're violating it.
Was that the case back in 1967 on the USS Liberty, that they had, at least in your opinion, they had violated international waters also?
We were in international waters ourselves. They violated a number of laws. One, they had used unmarked aircraft. They jammed our radios on U.S. Navy tactical and international maritime distress frequencies. They machine-gunned life rafts in the water. They refused to operate immediately upon cessation of hostilities. And the U.S. government violated international laws as well when they ordered 2 flights of rescue aircraft recalled while we were still under attack.
When you consider go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to say there's violations of law to go all around.
When you consider what had happened to you just over this past weekend and also back more than 40 years ago, is there anything that you want the public at large, whether they be the American public or the worldwide public, is there anything you want the public to know about the Israeli military?
To me, it's like a Chinese fire drill. They're purported to be the best in the world, but when you go up against them, they're just a bunch of ragtag people who think that they can do no wrong. Every time they speak, they say they don't break any laws. They always abide by international laws, but they break them with impunity, and the U.S. government's not going to hold them accountable. Nobody is. You
use that word, which I was going to bring up, impunity, and I'm guessing at this point you're also going to add the word recklessness to the way they handle their matters as well.
I think that they admit that they were not reckless, but the plan was ill-conceived and wasn't carried out very well. So I think their investigation, if they hold one, and they're going to claim they did, but they claim they had an investigation of the USS Liberty, but they said, hey, machine gunning of life rafts, nobody did anything wrong. So the investigation that they hold is not going to be the complete one that we would hope it to be.
And at this point, and I know you had kind of touched upon it just a couple seconds ago, what do you expect from this investigation into the latest incident?
I expect them to find out that they've violated international laws and should be held accountable for their actions. That's the only thing we're asking them to do for the USS Liberty as well.
And obviously, too, that matter with the USS Liberty is far from being settled.
Oh, it's not settled at all. We filed a war crimes report with the Department of Defense in 2005. They claim they already investigated the allegations we made, but they can't show us where they have.
There are still lots of questions as to exactly how this fight in the most recent incident over the weekend had happened. Maybe questions such as who threw the first punch, the first hit, the first bullets. Do you have any insight more into that?
Well, it was the Israelis, of course. They're the ones that initiated it. You have 600 people on a liner, and liners, you know, they carry passengers. Passengers eat. Passengers have forks, knives. The cooks have very large knives to cut the meat and stuff like that. So that becomes a deadly weapon. That becomes a pre-staged weapon in the Israelis' eyes. And of course, the only story that we get from the Israelis is, you know, the only video we get is from the Israelis, because they confiscated all of media's cameras. My camera was confiscated. They confiscated media's pens and pencils, so they couldn't record it. But they had plenty of video cameras to record their side. And who knows if that tape that they showed repeatedly on YouTube and on television stations around the country, how do we know that hadn't been doctored? Has anybody analyzed it?
But what about this thought from IDF that says, well, look, this is a boat. We don't know what's on this boat. We don't know what they're carrying on these boats. Do you have a response to that that notion that the IDF is selling out there?
Well, the cargo was inspected by Greece and by Turkey before it was loaded. So if they wanted to have inspectors, they should have had it in the beginning, not at the end.
Once again, my deepest apologies to you for calling you Jim Medders. Your name, of course, is Joe Medders. You are a survivor of the USS Liberty attack and also of the most recent attack on the flotilla over this past weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.